Fringe North Podcast Series. So each episode will have some exciting guests from our amazing community of performers and creators who will give us an inside look into both their lives as artists and what they're bringing to the festival this season. Hello, bonjour, Annie. Hola.
This week, I'm so excited to be joined by Riley and Vici B from 18 and Under Theater. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you for emailing me about this. I appreciate it.
Right on. So can you tell me a little bit about both of your backgrounds in theaters and just kind of introduce yourselves to our audience today?
Yeah. Do you want first?
Oh, sure. Go first. Hi, my name is Vici B. I'm a local director. I'm AV tech assistant for the ADSB school board, and some would consider me a stunt driver, at least the Ontario laws would. So I got into directing a few months ago, did a real good show at Quanta, critically acclaimed, great. I'm on the upswing, I'm on the adrenaline high, and I figured, okay, let's do another one. Riley?
Yeah, I'm Riley. I've been doing theater for 10 years, almost 11 now. Right now I'm in Vicky's show, as well as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Sweeney Todd. I got into it when I went with my sister to an audition in Oliver in 2014 with ADSB, and I got dragged in, and now I'm here, acting for so many different shows, and it's fun.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Nice. That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about the show that you're bringing to Fringe North this season?
So I Don't Want to Talk About It is written by the Canadian playwright Bradley Hayward. He also grew up in a really small town just like us. And actually, if you read his bio, he says, like, well, I had nothing to do other than write plays, and I kind of find myself in that same position. The play itself is about all the topics we don't want to talk about, like suicide, male pattern baldness, eating disorders, divorce, talking parents, just really the stuff that you kind of have to tuck it away in a corner, right? We're bringing that right on stage to make everybody as uncomfortable as we are.
That's awesome. And can you tell me a bit about, I guess the process of how it shaped up? You mentioned this was a few months ago that it kind of came to making, so it's pretty fresh. What has the energy been like with your team, and what was casting like?
Casting was a whirlwind both times, because the first time I was a young actor. I decided to become a director because it's just something I always wanted to do. Like, I've been in musicals, I've been in dramatic productions, I've been on stage, off stage, I've been a producer at that time. I've been a techie for Mustang Sally. I've done it all except directing. So I figured I'm going to take my foot in the door with that. And I was supposed to mentor underneath a much more experienced director. Unfortunately, things, as they do in my life, fell to the floor. So I was on my own. They did help me with casting, which was a good thing. But the second time around, a lot of the cast got busy. It's summer. They started working. Like, I don't want them to be impoverished such as myself. So I go, yeah, I'm going to get a job. Don't play around on the stage no more if you got to work. And then, you know what I mean? The kids stayed. And then the ones that left, and I got different ones in, right? Actors come a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah, right on. And you're one of the actors
Yes.
in the show. Can you tell me a little bit about your role and what it's been like working on the show?
Yeah, so when we first casted the show, we all went into audition. We got our little scripts, and we got a cast of 13, so it was 14. So it was quite large, fun. We got to know each other, got to learn the script. We did workshops with Vicky. We did our show, won some awards, got really excited, and then we recast it again, and now everyone's back to it. We're all really pushing for a good show again. I play a variety of different characters. I play Nick, I play Matt, I play a drive-through employee, I play many various roles.
Erica,
yeah, I do play Erica. Many just little various roles throughout there. All of them are just teenagers talking about their life. Some of my characters experience homophobia, parents not listening to them, girlfriends not listening to them. But it's been really fun just listening in and learning about characters, and we've learned a lot about acting with Vicky, and she's done a lot of workshops with us about learning how to think about your character in a more deeper way. It's been really nice, especially since they're all kids and all teens. So you're putting yourself into that role, and you're kind of thinking about, this could happen to me and how would I react. So it's been a really fun time.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Congratulations to you both and to the team on this production. I'm really excited to see it. I guess we did touch on a little bit about both your backgrounds in theater, but can you both tell me, I guess, the time that you felt, or maybe it was a sequence of events that you felt like you just want to keep going? Because for so many artists, it's really hard to kind of continue either making a living or just doing art because, you know, there's, like you mentioned, jobs, there's life, there's, you know, pressures of making a career with money. And although like it is possible to be an artist and make money, it sometimes can be a struggle. So can you tell me kind of what keeps you going and I guess what kind of lit that spark from the beginning?
Yeah, I did a show in 2021, A Christmas Story, and it was during COVID and everything was kind of shut down still, but more shows were coming up in the next year and I just wanted to do them all. Yeah. And especially now, what kept my spark alive was we just had 3 great shows, auditions, Sweeney Todd, White Christmas, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I know a lot of my friends wanted to audition for all of them. I did. And it's just so fun just learning how to do shows and having family. You really do build bonds with people when you do shows. And I think that's what keeps me doing it. It's just having friends, like learning songs, being all together, learning the dances. And then when you finally get to the show date, just enjoying it. It goes from work to fun. Yeah. And I think that's just what it's all about.
Nice.
For me personally, well, as you might have guessed, I'm a pretty monetarily motivated individual. Like I come from a family in the trades. I'm in the trades, right? For theater, you know, you're making pennies at best. Maybe you'll find a nickel or two left behind in one of the seats. What really keeps me going, despite that fact, has to be you're connecting people, right? Like you're giving them a reason to look up from their phones, because as a theater in a small Canadian community, we're competing with everything. We're competing with Broadway right now, right? Because you can go on your TV, you can live stream, you can get the movies, DVDs, Spotify, whatever, right? We have to make them feel something that you cannot feel without that interpersonal relationship with the audience. And my first ever show, many years ago, I remember I was at the student of the Royal Conservatory. I was performing in the loft and I saw the light from everybody's phone go from their face to the flash recording me on stage. And then I go, wow, this was pretty good, man.
What is it about theater? And you already mentioned some of these things, like the dancing, the actual presenting, but that you feel is important, like an important form of art for not just actors and directors and the company itself, but also for the greater community.
Right. You're able to, I think it's the fulfillment in yourself that you were able to entertain people for a little while. You're able to make them think and enjoy their time. And you get to take them away from our world and be put into what we're showing you. And I think it's, you just, for a little bit, hour and a half, or however long the show is, you just get to do your show character justice. And everyone gets to watch and feel entertained. And I think that's what really just inspires me to keep going, is being able to show people this amazing story and just entertain them for a night. Take them away from the harsh reality of our world. Let them see what the show is all about. I think that's what really I do it for.
Nice.
So yeah, escapism, eh? I'm a little bit on I'm on a different boat, but we're both heading to the same place. For me, I think the lure of theater in a community has to be confronting issues. What parts of a character do I see reflected in myself? Like Tennessee Williams' Streetcar Named Desire, right? Everybody's read that thing in high school, or I've seen it on YouTube or whatever. That's real. People lived like that. That's not a made-up scenario, right? And then you look at something, I guess, hyper dramatized, like Romeo or people aren't killing themselves for each other, but there's that love, the first love, right? Unfortunately, sometimes it ends in tragedy. Sometimes you keep moving on. I think that the most important thing about art is the fact that all it boils down to is meaningful illustration. Meaningful illustration of what? Meaningful illustration of the human experience and what then your next question is, well, why is that important? Because you can't live inside yourself your entire life. You have to see what it's like to be human in front of you on a stage. It really does. It changes your perspective, sorry. Because when you're sitting there and you're watching a show, you're thinking, that's me. That's nothing like me. That's like my community. That's nothing like my community. You're seeing almost like a caricature of your world in front of you, and it's really awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
I know when we did Fiddler on the Roof, we did it in the midst of a bunch of stuff going on currently. But it was just nice to be there and be like, these characters are real. This stuff happened. And when people come, they get to learn about what happened and how these characters like reacted. And especially in Sweeney Todd right now, we're talking about like the idea of that you're watching Sweetie do all of these horrible stuff. But then you also take home, this could be me. Like, you don't know how good you are, and you can take some of the themes into yourself and be like, oh, I relate to that. Like, I see why it's happening. Especially with like the reality of it all. You're telling stories, you're showing activism, you're showing this happened, this was bad, it is real. And I think that is just really fun to do, is show people history. And it's like entertaining while you're also learning about awful things, good things, whatever it may be. You're just learning about the truth, and it's entertaining. Yeah, I feel like that's so fun.
Learning about the human condition, because it's like performing is an interesting thing. Like, I'm not a performance artist. I'm a painter, so I do admire the arts. I greatly admire the performing arts, because if I compare it to, say, like painting practice, it's pretty solitary. Like, you're in your studio and you have a chance to connect, but it's like at a show and it's very curated, you know. But there's this kind of vulnerability to performance that you practice, obviously, and practice your roles, and it's kind of curated in that sense. But being able to see an artist be on stage and sing, dance, recite their lines, and become a character, really, it's a great, like you said, learning tool, because it allows us to see and feel the emotion firsthand. Whereas, you know, for some people, like reading it or just like watching a movie, it doesn't do. It's like a live like portrayal of something, and that's really beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about some methods, techniques, or learning experiences, I guess, in acting? Like, do you use any sort of, for you, Vici B, you're like kind of leading this group of young actors. Do you have any tips and tricks? I'm sure you do, for your team.
I got a few. The first thing I like to do with them, well, you might not be able to tell this, or maybe you can, I don't know, but I used to have a stutter, a slur, and I used to be really, really, really shy little child. And the first thing I do is I focus on diction with them. I focused on articulation, like how can we find our voice? Like, you have a message to say. Let's make sure that the audience can clearly understand that. Breathing exercises, breathing triangle, laying on the floor. I like to start, unless we're really pressed for time, and I'm like, okay, you should have warmed up before you came here. But I like to take them through all the different stretches, and I talk about which muscle groups you're working, and think about how your character walks as you're breathing. And one that I would like to try is breath colors, its own little shtick. And then I try more dynamic things. Like, you know, there's the improv games, the theater games, but what that does is it makes you think on your feet, okay? Because if your mic cuts out on stage, Riley and I were just talking about this, you better shimmy yourself off and go get a tech to help you, right? If your partner forgets their lines, you have to jump like that, right? Because nobody's paying $40 for a ticket for you to sit there and go and look at someone just as lost as you are, right? There's been some unconventional techniques. There's been some unethical techniques. We're not going to discuss those. You know, we're all learning at our own pace around here. Pretty much everything that's been done with me, I give it a shot, right? Even the stuff that didn't work that's been done on me, again, I give it a shot, because not everybody's completely insane like I am, right? Some things are going to work, some things aren't. But for any young person in the arts, hone your body, okay? I'm one to talk. I'm getting there. I'm telling you right now, work out, okay? Theater's incredibly physically demanding, right? And getting there, focus on breathing, okay? Eat before you come to rehearsal, drink before, like get your body ready as if you were going to play a sport. Make sure you're warmed up, make sure your voice is warmed up. Don't rip your chords in a, you know what I mean, like in a costume parade or anything. Just come ready to work and take everything I say with a grain of salt, with a few grains of salt, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
I like to like read through this like songs, the script, whatever, and think, what is the themes really about? Like we know, like again, Sweeney Todd, we just did this last time. We know what's it about, like the story. We know what happened, but what like metaphorically what it's about. Like these are all teenagers talking about their problems, yes, but why are we doing this? What are the underlying themes? And I really like to do. I think we learned this with you. When you're reading lines and you're like getting your monologue ready, what happened before to this character? What are they thinking now? What is going to happen afterwards? Are they going to be yelled at? What's going to happen? And we learned entrances also. When you come on, what just happened? Like what physical actions can you do to make your character feel the way of whatever just happened? So I really like to like look through the script and look through our songs and what do they really mean? And like be able to like feed it into myself and be like, oh, now I know how to be the character. And you just want to learn the show on a more like deep basis. Because you can read the story and you can read the synopsis, but you don't feel until you have to dig in deep and look and just be like, oh, now I know what I'm doing. And it's also great to find little like themes overall, like this happens or whatever, jealousy in this, and you find what supports that. What in this line supports that my character is being bullied? What is showing that? And then you just understand what you're doing more. And like Vicky said, grounding yourself, making sure you're healthy, because you can't portray someone if you're not healthy and you're not feeling all right. And it's really nice just to keep yourself whole so you can play someone else and really be on focus, on point. And I think we just learned so much from Vicky about what can silence do. We've workshopped things. We've talked about punctuation and what does it mean for when to stop, why are you stopping? And diction was a big help for all of us, like how your mouth moves and also how your character walks. A lot of people don't realize that their character is different than you still. So they might walk different. Are they walking heavier? Are they walking lighter? Like more scared? How does your character like hold themselves? Are they scared? How's their posture? I think understanding your character on like that high of a level just makes it really easy. This like lines and everything else will fill in when you know what your character's talking about and what they're thinking.
So on that note, do you ever find it hard to separate from your character when you're in theater mode, when you're working on a play? Like, do you find yourself, these might be good things, like observing other people and observing kind of movements and actions and stuff in your like social life and your social circles. But do you ever find yourself thinking like your character and like kind of having a hard time separating yourself from it?
That. Well, the first point you raised there, people watching. I'm a huge advocate, okay? Just as long as it's not their bedroom window on a Friday night, like observe the way people sit, okay? Because I don't know why I do what I do, but I do it in a very peculiar way that doesn't always look the best on stage. So for OMFA, I competed a poem, very famous poem called To This Day by Shane Kay. And I looked at people. I followed them around. Okay, I didn't follow them home, but like, I watched them in public, people who didn't look the most confident, people who hid their bodies in a certain way pertaining to what was said in the poem. And I learned how to do that and I brought it on stage, but should an actor be their character? Absolutely not. Okay. Acting is mask. You're putting on a mask of your character on yourself, right? So what you can do certain movements to accentuate the mask, you can do things to kind of hide it, and sometimes you can really make it look like it's not a mask at all, but you are not the character you play. The character you play is you. You are not the character you play, right? And we'll definitely have elements of yourself in there. Acting really is just bringing out parts of yourself. So, for example, if I have to play Emily Dickinson in The Belle of Amherst, okay, well, I'm a woman. I'm going to bring that out very loud and bold. Okay, I'm going to tone that down. I walk a little funny. Yeah, she's a little weird, that lady. Okay, so we're going to bring that up. And she does this and she talks like this. But I got to talk like this. I'm going to bring that one down, right? That's what acting is. You're taking what you already have, toning it up, or toning it just like your tech guy will appreciate this, just like a soundboard, right? Just like
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
But it cannot be yourself, because then you get into some real moral dilemmas. Then you get into like a dangerous gray area, because then you really want what your character wants, and that's not the safest thing to have on stage, right?
Yeah.
Immerse yourself into the arts at Fringe North Festival in Sault Ste. Marie. Enjoy theater, music, multi-arts adventures like no other, interactive kids activities in a beautiful historic city with nature at your fingertips and multicultural cuisine. Come join us. Plan your visit this August.
I've done some sad shows where you realize this happened. Like Fiddler on the Roof is a really sad show. And there's this one scene we did, the wedding scene, where we're all having a nice party at the wedding. Traditions are falling off. The Russian soldiers come in, destroy everything, leave the town like shaken up. And we talked a lot with Tova, who runs with Fringe. And we talked about like a lot about feelings, because she is a Jewish woman. And we talked about like, because she's very good with history, talked about what are your characters feeling. And we talked about 3 things you could leave at home, because they all have to leave now. It's just like putting yourself into that was really hard. And sometimes going home, you're like, that was really sad and took a really big toll. And like you said, it's a mask, but sometimes that mask is stuck. You can't get it off. So we talked about ways to just keep yourself away, like doing something at home, like skincare. You're washing away the character, keep it off. Like you said, the character, like you are the character should not be you. You can do your character justice. Just be careful you don't become it too much, because then you're not going to get away from it. So just, I like to find a method that keeps me out, like skincare, wash your face. When you're washing your face, take away that emotion, take away everything you've learned. But for a lot of like sad shows, you find yourself thinking, this is really emotional. Like it's so sad. Like you want to be in it still, but you have to just keep yourself away from that and realize that these are characters. It did happen, but we're doing them justice and showing them, and just keep it away from you so you don't inflict it on yourself. For happy shows, the mask might help you. Just watch the mask doesn't stay on for too long.
Yeah.
But being your character is not a bad thing. It's what makes your character good, because you understand it, and that's how you get a good showing. But just be careful the mask doesn't stay on too long.
Yeah. The character is for the stage.
Yeah. It's for that show. It should not be at home with you.
Yeah.
It might be hard to, like, there's other ways you can do it. Think about it. We've talked a lot about how you can get rid of it and get it off your shoulders. But if it's hard, then you just got to find something that's like toned to you that you can get off. Not everyone can wash their face and think their character is gone.
Yeah.
So you might have to do yoga or meditate or
like go for walks or
calm themselves down. But just find what's good for you, and you'll be able to keep that character away.
And that's really true, because let's say you do get into a less than pleasant situation where you find that your characters, like Riley said, your mask is on there a little, like maybe put some crazy glue on it the last or those, and you can't quite peel it off. If you can't get out of that character like that, what's going to happen is the next time you have to play something, you're not heightening yourself. You're not adjusting yourself. You're adjusting yourself when you have a blanket on you.
Yeah.
Like your certain parts you will be muted and weird and muddled, and the best way to get around that, especially when it comes to, like Riley said, more serious roles, I find, is know who you are. Like, pick questions and have answers for them. Like, who am I? Where am I going when I die? No, like, be secure. Because if you're not secure as a person, you're not going to have the most successful career in theater. You have to know, when you go home, you have to look in the mirror and recognize the face you see. For me, jeepers, most night it's not a face I'm really proud to look at, but I know, that ugly mug, she's mine. That's my face. That's nobody else's face right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Our show is really good at having a great ensemble that really, benefits the story. A lot of people sometimes just don't like being ensemble. It's not as worth it, but ensemble pushes the story. And the thing with our show is that all the ensemble characters are different. Erica and like Nick, our two characters I play, Nick has a total different situation than Erica. Nick is being bullied heavy for being gay, and Erica just wants a pet. Wants a pet dog, gets a parrot, and doesn't like it. Tries to kill it. Yeah, tries to kill the parrot. Yeah. But you have to also watch how you switch into other characters. Like she was saying, you're not, when you go to do another show afterwards, whether it be happy or sad, that character might still be with you, and you're only changing that character. That character doesn't think the same way another character should. Yeah. But being able, like for this show, being able to switch from Erica to Nick, or like Matt and Philip, and like being able to be like, I feel different. What happened to me before is not there anymore. It's something that we took time to learn. It was really hard being able to like, is your voice higher? Is your voice lower? Are they like quick? Are they really scared? Are they slow? Or are they bored? And I think taking that from the show now, I'll be able to switch from a character very easily. And especially if you do more than one show at once, you have to be able to be switched on. Like I'm doing a variety of shows right now.
Wow.
So like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, being an ensemble and being happy and wow, this is so cool. Yeah. Is so different from being Nick or being in Sweeney Todd and having to deal with these humongous themes. But being able to switch is a skill you can build. It's like a muscle. Acting's a muscle. Yeah. When you work it out, you'll be able to find it. It'll be easier to come to you. But I think just being able to find how to switch, because if you can't switch, it's going to be a little hard for you when you go to an audition and this character's happy, your last character was sad, and you can't let go. And it's just a little hard, but you'll find it eventually.
Yeah. Characters, we'll just say I made this up, even though somebody definitely said it to me before. Characters are like change. They're great to keep in your back pocket, right? But you can't go swimming if you got change in your trunks, right? You can't live your every single day healthily if you got all this clutter in your mind, but just organize them nice and neat, because the character you play never leaves you. Even if it's a minor role, it's never goes anywhere, right? It just put in a filing cabinet, put it in your back pocket. Next time you need something similar, you can whip it out, tweak it, right?
Nice.
In Fiddler on the Roof also used to talk about, like, you have a treasure chest that's in your mind, and after you go from rehearsal, it was a really tough rehearsal or whatnot, you open it up, you put all your feelings into it, you close it, and you leave it at rehearsal. You don't take it home with you. That box stays at rehearsal. You come into rehearsal tomorrow, you open the box, you put your character back on, like a new pair of clothing, you put your clothing back on, close the box, you do rehearsal, you leave, you put it back in the box. You separate rehearsal. Like the rehearsal studio shouldn't cause you to feel all these emotions and like hate the rehearsal studio.
Yeah.
If that's happening, it might be a little too much for you. But just being able to put those stuff in a box or put it on the shelf, it's like a book on a shelf. You read the book, you've done with the show, put the book on the shelf. You still have the shelf, you still have the books. They're just away from you.
Yeah, you don't have to carry it around and have a heavy backpack. Yeah.
Like a locker. Don't want it in your backpack, you put it in the locker, the locker, keep it on.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting, because I think there's a lot of themes that can be related to like just everyday life, like a lot of people that are in the workforce or go into work situations where, it might be really heavy and you don't want to bring that home. But these, I will call them rituals, but they kind of sound like rituals to separate the character from yourself. And I really like how you put that, Vicky, is like, you want to keep yourself in focus, because you're kind of, if you bring a character in that is not you into the next like show, you're working from that character, and you don't know that character as well as you know yourself and your strengths. Kind of like you're just working with maybe a little folder of information, whereas like yourself is like, you just, obviously you have so much more because of, well, we are ourselves, but yeah. To kind of move on from that question, I'm curious, Vicky, why you chose to start this theater company, the 18 and under theater company, and what it's been like.
Well, I needed a name.
Okay.
For copyright, 18 and under theater. I believe Riley said it's giving plain. And, well, it was giving the best name we could think of in the amount of time I had to do it, 45 minutes. So that's why I chose the name. The company itself, I'm trying real hard to avoid this question. Okay. Well, the company itself, theater's kind of, it's not dying. It's not as bad as everybody, might lead you to believe. Certainly just took a kick in the nuts, right? Over COVID, over the economic turmoils. People just don't have money to be spending at the theater. And that's really interesting because during the Great Depression, that was the golden age of escapism. So I guess I'm going to have to go back on myself when I'm thinking of the future for this company. Like, I did this to get young people in. What do I do to keep them in? What do I do to keep family? I don't want, if you come alone, that's great. I was a single Pringle for 18 years, right? But I want families, okay? I want caregivers and kids. I want a mom and dad and kids. I want aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandma. I want the third cousin twice removed, Ricky, who we don't talk about. I want them all together in the theater, right? That's why I did this. And it's so difficult every single day. I'm like, as a company, we're competing with so much. We're competing with iPhones. We're competing with laziness. We're competing with people who just can't afford it. Like, I bought a few tickets for my show and just gave them out to certain lower income individuals. Because at the end of the day, fine, if I don't make money, whatever, kick me in the teeth, I don't care, I'll pick them up anyways, right? But they need this. People need this. You have to have art. You have to have certain community expression. That's why I do this, to give everybody a chance, right? And if certain things want to try to make it hard for me, well, fine, I'll meet you in the ring. But this, you can't really look me dead in the eyes and tell me it's not useful. Yeah, is it as useful as well? Okay, but is it useful as an interpersonal level to keep us connected, to take these broken families and just tie them to a chair and say, listen, you're going to love each other? Kind of. You know what I mean? I want to bring families together. I want to give them something to bond over. Yeah, that's why I do it.
Yeah, and especially with 18 and under, all of our cast is 18 and under.
Yeah.
And I think now with theater, youth are trying to get into theater. They're a lot of shows on TikTok have gone viral. A lot of people they watch are in musicals right now. And I think that getting youth into theater is probably the best bet. I'm very grateful for our theater community in the Sioux. We have a great, strong one. But there's not as many youth as there used to be. So getting a theater company that is just for youth and will eventually get them to hopefully lead on to more theater and go to university for music and BFAs and whatnot is a really great way to even bond families in the audience, get them understanding of themselves. Like she said, you have to focus on yourself when you're in theater, make sure you're healthy. Theater's a great way just to understand yourself on a deeper level. And I think that having youth in theater is what's going to keep theater alive, because you need more getting in and more getting in. And youth and people will come to shows and watch them and be like, I think this is really fun. I'm going to join theater. And that's a lot of high school shows. We did Mamma Mia recently with Cora, and we just had our meeting for Mean Girls in June. More people came. They were like, I watched Mamma Mia. I think I want to do theater now.
Cool.
And the cycle never ends, and people will come to theater. But having a great theater company for youth is what's going to keep it in. Getting programs and the Young Americans was a great way to get youth in to theater, letting them dance, letting them sing, letting them act. Just keeping youth in there will keep theater alive.
Totally.
So great having 18 and under theater, keeping us all there and being able to move on to other theater shows and just keep us there and creating bonds with family, having friends come over and watch the show and just building a great personality. You're more confident, and getting youth to be confident is a struggle usually. But with theater, it's a great way. Yeah. So I think more companies should tend to theater for youth and just keep it there.
Yeah. Think about it, right? And I keep coming back to the trades because it's always what I got my nose in. But go and look at Algoma Steel right now. It's a retirement home. There's no young people. There's a major skill gap. We don't want that to happen in the arts.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how you get stuff like the fall of Rome. A society becomes too top heavy. We forget the work that brought us to that point, right? So in theater, it's so important that we get young people interested, we get them active, because this teaches them responsibility, all right? Learn your lines. This teaches them how to handle stress, how to advocate for themselves. Hey, listen, as much as I like to think I am, I'm not the king of that stage. I'm just the guy trying to keep you guys safe and help you along, right? Trust me, they voice their issues to me. But you really have to make sure that we're not going to experience the same skill gap that the trades are experiencing, especially because this is concerning the future of our society, but the future of our culture.
Yeah.
We're in a museum, right? How much knowledge of our lives has been forgotten and thrown in this building? Really, how much? The Native American wigwams we just saw, the pelt work, the beading, that's all due to a great revival. It's coming back, but we lost it for so many generations, and we have to really advocate. We have to get kids up and excited and moving so we don't experience the same knowledge loss.
And art is a way of kind of keeping that alive. Like you say, that like there is a revitalization in a lot of communities and history, but it's like this is just another way of projecting some of these stories. And it's also, in my experience with the arts, putting in work and seeing the outcome is one of the most kind of important things and for an individual, especially if you don't have that. Like as young people, you know, I'm not really young anymore. I'm 27, but you know, it wasn't that long ago, and I was lucky to have art, and actually I had sports too. And it's kind of reminding me, like theater, you're working with a team. You have to show up and put in the work, and those are really great life lessons. And I don't know, like what would you do without it, really, right? These yeah. This is like an anti-drug campaign now. Yeah. Stay away from drugs. That's a good point. On that note, not really relating to drugs, but what do you find the hardest part of theater? What is the thing that you either least like or you struggle with?
I think that when people don't get a role, they go on audition and no one gets a role. It is a huge hit to the ego. You practiced, you thought you did very well. You go in the audition room, you're scared. You think you do good. And then you realize that, oh, I didn't get the role. And then you start to think, oh, they're better than me. Oh, now I'm getting jealous. And I think I've talked to a lot of people where ensemble feels like a hit to the heart. Like, I really wanted this role. I got ensemble. I'm not as important. And I think we need to lose that narrative, because the ensemble is one of the strongest parts of a show. The leads, like imagine a show with just leads and no ensemble. The story is moving nowhere. You're getting nothing done. There's no like fun part about dancing. You're just watching like two people dance. It's not exciting anymore. But a lot of people lose faith when they don't get shows, and they don't like continue to try. There's that saying that's like 1 in 64, you'll get something. Like if you apply 64 times, you'll get one. Like a lot of actors talk about, you have to apply a lot, and auditions never stop. They will never stop. And you will lose so many of them, and you will not get a lot of them. Just keep trying. And I think that's something in theater that people stop doing, is trying. Like we don't get a role, and it's, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. Like now I'm sad. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to like be around people that do it. I don't want to hear about the show. They see it on the news and they're like, that could have been me, but I didn't get in. So I think we just need to lose the narrative that ensemble is not good, or like overall that maybe you don't have lines, maybe you just sing, but your singing is propelling the show forward. And I think losing the narrative that no one is important unless you're not a lead is just, it needs to be gone. Because I think it really kills people a lot when they don't get something. And it's like theater never stops teaching, and you're always like learning in theater. And I think not getting things is a great learning curve. Learning what can I do better, and then turning the jealousy into inspiration is a big thing of that. Like a lot of people, I've learned how to do it. If you're jealous of someone, what do they have that you're jealous of? Because jealousy is just our bodies wanting desire. Like your desire to be this, and it turns from jealousy to inspiration. And it's also like being jealous is just your body telling you that I want these things because I know I can do it. So you turn jealousy into determination. It's what we need to learn, but we really just need to get rid of like feeling like failure when we don't get something. Because once you leave theater, whether you continue to do it or not, you do a job interview, you don't get it. It hurts, yes, and it will hurt, but it won't matter after like the 5 minutes, 5 years thing. If it doesn't matter in 5 minutes, it won't matter in 5 years. Like, and vice versa, won't matter in 5 years, won't matter in 5 minutes. Just keep afloat. Like, understand that everything is a learning curve. You went in there, you tried your best, you didn't get it, doesn't mean you're worse. Doesn't mean you're not what they're looking for. It's a learning curve now. And and when you get ensemble, that is still a great role. You're still on the show. You're needed. It's fun. You get to build connections. And then you learn and you practice singing and you learn what you're good at. Helps you at the next audition. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. Just everyone hates being ensemble. And I love being ensemble. I love being in the back. I love like learning all the songs. I love like listening to everybody sing and like taking my time and watching the leads because it's all learning. You're building your resume and you're just watching. And I think that's the only thing about theater that I hate is people not wanting to continue because they don't feel like they've got what they want. But you'll see that everywhere. People not getting what they want.
Yeah. And that's really a big part of life is that no one is given everything or very rarely. And the people that are given everything often aren't even grateful. Like they aren't even happy for it. So it's like, it really does put things into perspective. And it's an opportunity for growth. I know like out of experience, like sometimes you just don't get the grant or the workshop or the, whatever you apply for. It's like you keep working on it. And there's so many people out there, it can't be given to everyone, but it makes when it does happen matter even more and you're prepared for it.
Yeah, my mom likes this one song lyric and every time it comes on we always laugh with her because she always says it. It's like sometimes when you don't get what you need, you'll get what you want.
Like a Rolling Stone song. Yeah, right on.
You don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Yeah.
You want the role, but maybe you just need to learn more.
Yeah.
I think that whenever it comes on, she'll be like, if you don't get like what you want, you get what you need. And it will come back to you.
Yeah.
And it's true. It applies to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And when they made that song, they obviously thought, but it's such a great song lyric because it matters a lot for theater.
Yeah.
Like you might want the role, but you might need to learn more.
Yeah.
Or like if you apply to a job, you might want it, but maybe it's not what you need. And it's like you want the new phone, but you need it.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to a lot of things in society today. It's a great lyric.
Yeah, that is a good one. Good job, Mick.
Yeah.
They kind of steal everything that Riley just said. I do think that the thing I hate most about, okay, well, there's one thing I don't like, and it's the same as Riley's, but I guess it's like more of a cultural issue. And the reason I say that is because that particular attitude is not just affecting the arts. You see it absolutely everywhere you go. It's almost like in today's day and age, it's nearly taboo or considered impolite to say like, yeah, suffering is worth this. Like, yeah, waking up early, like going to bed at 3, waking up at 7, haul ass to the rehearsal, right? Do your shtick, come back after 12 hours, and you know what? You shit, shower, and shave, and you do it all again. That's worth something. Okay, it's not worth it to go sit on a beach. It really, what are you gonna get? Sunburn? Skin cancer? Come on, go inside. Go to rehearsal and sit. I don't understand. And maybe this is the biggest blessing I've ever received. But I don't understand why pain is so frowned upon. Okay? The Marines, the most elite fighting force on planet Earth, pain is just weakness leaving the body, and that's the truest thing, because the more you put on yourself, the more you can handle. The more you can handle, the more you can pick your buddies up, pick your ensemble up, pick your actors up, and okay, let's go. Let's get this thing done. And especially when talking with this generation of young people, we're starting to move away from that. It's been so baked into us, like, take a mental health day. Like, yeah, take a mental health day. Great. Don't take a mental health month. You know what I mean? Figure out ways that you can be healthy in your every single day of life, to continue this, to always bring your best no matter what, all right? I've met some of the actors in our last run, some of the actors in this run sleep at school, at cots or whatever. They take their extra clothes, they sleep on the floor between the night rehearsals, right? Frozen. That was a rough one. They dance till they're sweating. Harper, I edited out that name. There's a young girl in particular, so quiet, so tired, she broke down in tears on stage, turned her back to the audience and pretended she was laughing at the wedding scene. You know what I mean? If you can handle that, do it. If you think you can handle that, do it. If you don't think you can handle that, do it anyways. Get yourself to that level. The pain is worth it. the hit to your ego every time you fail, every time somebody laughs at you, every time somebody kicks you in the ass when you just fall down and kicks sand in your eyes, that's worth it. Because one day you're going to do the same thing to them. You know what I mean? Pain is worth it. Get through whatever you're going through right now. Go to an audition, man. Just do it. You got it. That's the thing I hate most about theater is these poor people that have been told all their life, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, and then they start to believe it. That's a hideous thing. That's a horrible thing. That's what I hate most.
Yeah. Doubt is a cancer. Yeah, it really is. Well, thank you for sharing that wisdom. It's, I think, a learning experience that everyone can take away from, right? Like, I think because everyone deals with these like ego trips and downfalls and and rejection, and so it's part of life. What do you take, or I guess, okay, let me rephrase this. I'm thinking about inspiration. So obviously team members, directors, other cast members probably inspire you, and the characters themselves, but do you ever like watch movies or take anything in your life? Maybe it's music. You mentioned a music lyric that is inspiring to your family. But yeah, what inspires you?
I think it's like, just I'll watch something on TV and be like, this is really fun. I want to learn how to do it. And like, I just want to keep entertaining people. I want people to come to theater. I want to keep it alive because it was dying for a little bit. And now it's starting to come back out. Like Broadway's opening back up and shows are now coming to Canada now and Broadway's moving closer. And I think like what inspires me is just music. And I like to like read and like go online and just see things that I want to do it. And like, even when I do shows, I'll like look around and like a rehearsal, I'll be like, I love what they're doing right now. Like that is so good. Or like, I'll see someone to be like, I want to do what they're doing. So like, I'll see what they're doing, what they're like changing. And I'll use that to just put into me like desire. And I'll just kind of get through it. And I think inspiration comes in a lot of different forms.
Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a very angry, hateful, spiteful, narcissistic individual. And I just got to say, what inspires me most is every time somebody wronged me, every time, like I was bullied horribly by just about everybody in my elementary school. High school was a different story. Actually, the moment I got out of elementary school, oh great, my family life fell apart. That's the most inspiring thing to me, because you look at some of these guys and you think, wow, if they can do it, I definitely can. That's how I got my driver's license. I see some of the people driving in the city, go, whoa, if he can do it, there's no doubt in my mind. I can probably slide by, but I'm not. Really, it's gotta be when I work with an actor, maybe they don't come back for another show, or maybe I worked with them, not directing, just as a producer, or I helped them out. They called me over, I gave them some techniques to work on, and I meet them a couple months down the line, couple weeks down the line, and they're a brighter person. Like, I don't think I should name names, but there's a young girl. Our last run was her very first show. She just stands up straight. She looks at you. She makes eye contact now. You can hear her when she talks. That's the best thing. Cool. Right after getting back at people. Get back at people, inspire others. That's, they're close, but...
That's some wisdom right there, because inspiration is... in the arts, in my mind, it's kind of it's the greatest power. It's you're bringing art to people. You may have been inspired by someone or something in your life, or many things to do it, and then you're passing along that energy, right? It's kind of, you're just continuing to build people's, I guess, love for life, because that's kind of what it is. It's passion. I guess I have like two last questions. One is, do you have any plans for the future?
Okay. I know in like grade 8, like there's a class civics and careers you do in grade 10. And careers is a lot about what do you want to be. And with arts, we're told a lot that you can't make money from it. Like going to get your BFA or going to these dramatic schools, you won't go far with that. I want to continue in the arts. I really do. Because now more than ever, people are realizing this is a job. You can do it. You can make careers for yourself. I want to continue doing theater until I graduate. Doing shows this year. We'll continue doing shows for like Mean Girls with Cora, and I'll continue just auditioning for whenever I can. I kind of want to move into film a little bit more, film acting. It's totally different.
Yeah.
It's smaller. You don't really like get to learn like as much as theater does, but theater is a great skill to have, and I think it will be with me forever. I do also want to try law. I want to try out law. I'm doing a law course.
Cool.
In one of my semesters next year, and I just really it's either law or arts.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people that want to do arts, especially youth, are told that like it's not it's a hobby, not a career.
Yeah.
So inspired, let them know that it's a career and you can do it. So that's why I'm hoping to go in the future, stick with arts or do law.
Yeah, nice.
Well, my plan, okay, if I can afford it, which, you know, I will because I got kidneys. I only need one. I think I got a third one knocking around in there. Make some. But I'm telling you right now, you want to do it as a career, that's fine. Don't expect to buy a house. You know what I mean? Don't expect to have a family. For me personally, I want to raise a baseball team, right? I want to have all these little kids running around and scratching up the walls and stuff. But for my personal advice, if you're an artist, you're creative, okay? I'd caution against welding because the fumes, you know, they screw up your throat. That's what I did. But get a trade, okay? Because when you're on a job site, you're building, you're being creative, and you're contributing to your society. You're going to find that useful. For me, I'd like to go to art school. I would like to refine myself. I would like to become a well-read young woman. I would like to become a cultured individual, right? But I also want to have a family. So once I get that knowledge, once I do my 2-year little program thing, I have a little moment, right? Workforce. Go get a job in the trades because you're spending your day creating something useful. And then at night, you get to spend your nights creating something beautiful. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice. And I guess my last question, and this is usually how I end all the interviews, is what's the best piece of advice that you've been given?
A tough one. Continue. Don't let like failure stop you. Failure is just success in the waiting. It's just waiting for you to continue. Have fun with it. I know Miss Williams, our teacher, says like find a job that it has fun and you'll never work a day in your life. Because if your work is hard and heavy and it's dragging behind you, it's not going to be fun for you. And you're not going to live a successful life if that's always tying you down. So find a job that like makes you have fun. And I think the arts are a great way to have fun. Like I've enjoyed all my time doing arts. So I think that the best piece of advice is just find something that makes you happy. Like failure is fine. Like acknowledge it. You'll beat it eventually. So I think take failure and just like make it success. You can do it. And you'll find, like I've heard many different like theater tips and great ways to continue theater. They'll come, you'll hear them. Just think about them deeply. Because I know our teacher says so many amazing quotes. We have like the I'm a loser shirt.
Yeah.
And it talks about losing yourself in music and losing yourself in the arts and how beautiful that is.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll find someone who is like your mentor. I mean, she really taught us so much. So find something, love it, have fun with it, take it with you.
The best piece of advice I've ever heard pertaining to everything my entire life has to be lean on the Lord. We all die. It's not a fun place to live, this planet. Nobody makes it out alive. You name one person who's never going to die, right? And at the end of the day, when you're walking home in the rain and there's a sad song playing, you know, hey, I'm getting into the pearly gates at the end of the day. So it's really not all that bad, right? I can probably make it through this.
Nice.
Thank you for having us, eh?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Riley and Vici B, for joining us. This is 18 and Under Theater. They will be performing this year at Fringe North.
Hooray there. I'm the Heather, so the proud mascot of Fringe North 2024. You'll see me swaying in the wind throughout the festival, just like I do in the beautiful shorelines of Manitoulin Island. I'm an artist in my own right, bringing a touch of natural beauty wherever I go. Fringe North is all about celebrating the vibrant arts community in the North. And guess what? 100% of our box office sales goes straight to paying the amazing artists who bring the festival to life. But to keep the magic going, I need your help. If you spot me around the festival, feel free to ask me questions or discover cool facts about Fringe North. And most importantly, tip the Fringe. Your support helps us to continue to bring this incredible festival back year after year. So, want to support Fringe North? Tip the Fringe and let the arts flourish. Remember, Fringe North, expect the unexpected. For more information on how to tip the Fringe, head on over to SueFringe.com.